can you talk to me about being a mother? Because this is a Mother's Day special as well, too. And I know what you do with the Tri-County Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant resonates also in your household.
Yes. I said I have 4 children. I have a daughter and a son, and my husband brought over a daughter and a son. However, I didn't rear my bonus daughter, but I did my daughter. And she'll tell you that I was very strict, but I was more of wanting her to be that perfect young lady. And so therefore she had a lot of rules that I put up on her, because at the time I was working there in the prison, and I seen a lot of young ladies that did not have that sense of direction. So I wanted to make sure to emphasize to my daughter things that how she was to carry herself at home, in the public. And I always would teach her, you're representing me.
Yes.
So with that being stated, she learned at home. She learned at home how to carry herself.
This is Dr. Rodney Duckett with the Lively Art of Conversation, where we live, we learn, we earn, my goodness, and we pass it along. Tune in and listen to us every Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. as we give you our story with the Lively Art of Conversation. Hello. Once again, this is your community facilitator, Dr. Rodney Duckett, back with the Lively Art of Conversation, where we live, we learn, we earn, and we pass it along. You are in store for another wonderful show here. If you guys don't know or don't remember, this show has been going on here for the last 3 weeks, and it's going to be a phenomenal show that we have here for you guys today. For a little bit about me, if you're new to this show, I'm a transplant to this area by way of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. If you never heard of that, there's one thing I know you heard of, the Gap Band. Greenwood, Archer, and Pine is where Black Wall Street lies. So I joined the military, spent approximately 12 years, and just kind of stayed in this area. I made this my home, is where I raised my children and my family, and we pretty much are now Texas natives here. The Lively Art of Conversation is a show that was started by one of the late, the great Reverend Roscoe Harrison. I'm going to tell you how this show got started. Reverend Roscoe Harrison had a show called The Focus Show. The Focus Show was where he came on and say, hey, my name is Reverend Roscoe Harrison, and you're watching The Focus Show, where we practice the lively art of conversation. And I told him if I was ever in a position to use that, I will use that. So now we have the lively art of conversation that's here for us. But this show wouldn't be a show, guess what, without our underwriting. Hello, this is Dr. Rodney Duckett with the Lively Art of Conversation. This is the place where you live, you learn, you earn, and you pass that wisdom along. Join us every Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. as we bring to you the Lively Art of Conversation. This is a place where your life lessons becomes the experience and the wisdom for others to reach out and grab. If it's not for your test, if it's not for your mess, if it's not for your tragedies, and if it's not for your end, we'll never have the beginning for the next generation. We will never have the triumph the next generation can reach out and point the finger at. We'll never be able to understand the test that turned to the testimony. And my goodness, everybody's mess becomes a great dialogue for a message. So if you have a message and you would like to be a part of the Lively Art of Conversation, do not hesitate with just dropping me a email. That's right, with the Lively Art of Conversation at gmail.com. Because if you have an ad, if you have a book, if you have an event, or if you have something that you have to get off your chest in a constructive way to help others build, then grow, well, this is the platform for you. So feel free to reach out to me. That's right, your community facilitator, your cultural enthusiast, Rodney Duckett. That's Dr. Rodney Duckett. So hope to hear you soon on the Lively Art of Conversation. Tune in. This is a story worth listening to.
Words have power. They connect, heal, and inspire. That's the mission at Better Watch Your Tone, LLC, founded by Toni B. Shelton. She's empowering through powerful poetry and prose, with hundreds impacted through speaking events, workshops, and 8 self-published books. Ready to honor the story within? Discover books and coaching at betterwatchyourtone.com. For event poetry or book writing support, email ToniShelton@gmail.com. Let's use our words to uplift. Better watch your tone. Don't miss the 8th annual Tri-County Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant, Friday, June 13th at 6:30 p.m. at the Cultural Activity Center in Temple. Celebrate 160 years of freedom while supporting incredible young women building confidence, leadership, and earning real scholarships. Pre-sale tickets are just $15. Call Ramona Clark at 254-534-2225 to get yours today. Be there and be inspired. You've built a life worth celebrating. Now it's time to be seen. At Las Foto de Lance Photography, they don't just take portraits, they capture the fire in your spirit and the power in your presence. Whether you're reclaiming your confidence, owning your story, or stepping into a new chapter, Las Foto de Lance Photography creates luxury images that reflect the real you. Visit lasfotodelance.net or drop by their Harker Heights studio. Las Foto de Lance Photography, unapologetically you, immortalized. Looking to elevate your brand or capture unforgettable moments? New Image Media offers top-tier videography, photography, personal branding, and more. They combine creativity and quality with fair pricing and friendly service so you get the results you want. Whether it's a business promo or special occasion, they bring your vision to life with quality you can trust. Choose New Image Media, where your image is everything. For more info, email media@newimagemiallc.com.
This is Dr. Rodney Duckett with the Heritage Legacy Curators. You're looking for something for your kids to do this summer? Well, reach out to me at Impact Outreach, IMPAC outreach @gmail.com, because Heritage Legacy Curators is all about collecting oral history. So if you have stories that you would love to pass down to your kids, or if you have a project that maybe your kids need to do as it relates to oral history, bring those family albums out and we'll sit there and we'll sort through those family albums, so that way we can collect those stories and keep those stories within the family, so that way they can be the next speakers to curate your family reunion. We're back with the lively art of conversation. Once again, I'd like to thank my underwriters. My underwriters have been very important to me. So Natural Organic Catering, Las Foto de Lance Photography, New Image Media, also Better Watch Your Tone. These are great underwriters that supported me, and every time I ask them, tell them what I need, they always show up and do good by me. Our quote of the week, we start off with a quote all the time, and I try to find a quote that fits with my host for the show, or my guest for the show. I try to find the right quotes that fit for my guest for the show. So the quote this week goes like this: bloom where you are. That's right. Bloom where you are. The word that I want you guys to keep in mind is growth. Growth isn't about being planted in a perfect soil, but about reaching for light wherever you are. So growth isn't about being planted in perfect soil. It's about reaching for the light wherever you are. So this means that personal development improvement can happen in any situation, even if the environment is not ideal for you. It's about making those most of the current circumstances and striving to learn and evolve. So the question I want you guys to keep in mind for the week, open up your journals and prepare to write down, it is what is the one small step that you can take this week to reach the light in your current situation? Think about that. What's one step that you can take? One small step that you can take to actually gear you toward the light in the current situation that you're in. And that's something for you guys to think about. Growth is the word of the week, and bloom where you are. Keep that in mind. Write that in your journals. I do this because it sparks conversation amongst you. It sparks conversation amongst your friends. But also, these are table topics that you can give to your children around the table. The one thing that I noticed that sometimes is missing in the community is those certain conversations that we should have with our kids around the table. So keep in mind, what's that one small step that you can take that will actually lead you to the light in your current situation? So guess what? I got a phenomenal show for you here today. And the reason why this show is phenomenal, because I have someone that I highly respect in the community because she's doing great work. Now, if you know me, I have my nonprofit. And I love my nonprofit, but what I love most about my nonprofit is to find other people that have nonprofits that love working with kids. And I just by accident stumbled across this young lady that had this wonderful pageant. And I said, you know what? Let me do what I could do to see if I can help her out. So she gave us a spot, the Heritage Legacy Curators, and we've come out to her pageant, and the boys actually enjoy being a part of the pageant. I think they enjoy being a part of the pageant because they get a little bit of stage time with the young ladies on stage, so it gives them a chance to get dressed up and also get a little round of applause there. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to bring to you the founder of the Miss Tri-County Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant, Miss Ramona Clark. Miss Ramona Clark, thank you for being on this show. There's so much to you outside of the Juneteenth pageant. Would you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Good afternoon, and thank you, Rodney, for having me on the show. I am Ramona Clark. I'm a mother of 4 children, 7 grandchildren, and I love investing time in children. I love to see them grow. I love to glorify in something that they've learned that I have taught them, simply because I feel like my journey is complete once they've learned and they have gravitated to what's being taught to them.
Miss Ramona Clark, can you tell me a little bit about you, your background? Where were you born? Where are you from?
I'm originally from a small community of Granger, Texas. I was born in Granger, went to high school there. I did further my education at Central Texas College, and I also went to, they've changed the name since I've been there, so I've also went to online classes there at I went blank, and I know what it is. I went totally blank.
Was it Temple College?
No, it was an online class out of Florida.
Oh, Florida, okay.
And so I they've changed it too. Anyway, I went there and I did criminal justice. Okay. And in doing the criminal justice, I did several years working for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
I worked in the men division. But when I came to work with the women is when I realized that a lot of them were there because they had no mentors. They had no one to encourage them. Mm-hmm. And that gave me the insight to say that there are young ladies out here who mothers were probably there. They're locked up, and therefore they didn't get that proper mentorship or that proper direction. So that triggered me more so to reach out to young ladies.
So would you say that was the initial start of the Juneteenth pageant, seeing that there was a need to fill in the gap as it relates to being that mother?
That wasn't really the start of Juneteenth. What really started me with Juneteenth is when my husband was pastoring in a small community, and I seen a lot of young ladies that were not trained properly. They carried themselves but then I seen that their mothers also carried themselves in the same pattern. And it took me back to when I did work there at the prison and seen that. So I said, well, you know what? These girls need something to do. So I wanted to instill in them their beauty as far as, and I don't mean the outer beauty always, that inner beauty, something to make them smile, something to give them a reason to say, I am a queen or I am a princess. So that's really what started me to gathering the girls within the community and making them feel good about themselves.
So motivation and representation is what sparked this idea. You were motivated to have the girls to be that pillar of how they are perceived in the community. And I do commend you for that, because that is a lot of work that sometimes is needed. I mean, it is totally needed, especially in the area that we are in the advent of social media, how people think they should carry themselves because it looks cool on social media. I'm amazed at what you have put together, seeing you work with these girls and seeing how receptive these girls are with you. Can you talk to me about being a mother? Because this is a Mother's Day special as well, too. And I know what you do with the Tri-County Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant resonates also in your household.
Yes. I said I have 4 children. I have a daughter and a son, and my husband bought over a daughter and a son. However, I didn't rear my bonus daughter, but I did my daughter. And she'll tell you that I was very strict, but I was more of wanting her to be that perfect young lady. And so therefore she had a lot of rules that I put upon her, because at the time I was working there in the prison, and I seen a lot of young ladies that did not have that sense of direction. So I wanted to make sure to emphasize to my daughter things that how she was to carry herself at home, in the public. And I always would teach her, you're representing me.
Yes.
So with that being stated, she learned at home. She learned at home how to carry herself.
So the structure and discipline is one of the things that's also lacking sometime in our community, and you can see it. And it's not just sometimes the nucleus family that has these problems. You know, it's other families that have these problems as well too. So structure and discipline is what you instilled in your children. And I've also been to some of your practices, and I also see structure and discipline also with the young ladies that are there too. So what's some of the challenges that you have encountered along the way, navigating through motherhood and then also balancing out what you do in the community?
Well, during motherhood, I was a single parent, so I had to learn how to divide myself, because my daughter and my son are 5 years apart. So I had to learn how to make sure I kept her involved and to make sure I kept him involved. So I had no life. I truly had no life. My life were my children. And when they left, it's like I needed to be meaningful to somebody else's child that their parents may not have the time, you know. So I wanted to make myself available within the community or at church, and I'm everybody's Aunt Mona, so within the community, or Nana.
Yes.
And so I wanted to make myself available to still pass those things to other people's children. And their parents really allow that. So some of the only challenge that I truly have ever had is when the children wanted to be with me and the parents resisted.
Oh, wow.
And then that made a challenge, because I'm real tenderhearted. So it's like I know that young lady could really benefit from because I would make sure that she would benefit from it.
So when you say that parents do not sometimes want the child to be connected to you, is that because of fear of likability over their parents, or just more of a control factor? How would you sum that up? Because I run into that a lot too. I've had young men that I mentor, their father is sometimes not in their life, and then mom says, hey, you know, this gentleman's going to mentor him, and then the father would say no, you know, and of course I can't mentor the child because the father says no. How do you get around some of that?
I really try to make myself available for the parents itself. So sometimes I have to do a one-on-one, and that's when I realize that the issues or what that individual may be fighting is really more of shameful, because someone else has to teach my daughter what I should be teaching them. And so I've come to understand that it was more shameful than anything, from what I gather. Then they might not like my personality, because I am stern, firm, but fair.
Oh, wow.
And so with that being said, a lot of parents don't want to pick up on that. Maybe I'm taking them back to their motherhood when their mother's might was trying to be stern with them. But yeah, I am.
So let's talk about learn. I know a little bit about your life. I know where you were born. I know where you worked. But doing the job that you've done in the correctional facility, and then also having your feet like really in the deep end far as the Juneteenth pageant, tell me what you have learned from your experiences. What have you taken from those two worlds that you come from?
I think what I've taken from those two worlds, that I like I said, I worked at TDC.
Mm-hmm.
So I took from that particular location that's not where you want any young lady to be. But I also took the idea that gave me an opportunity to teach or to be an example to those young ladies there that there is a better way.
Yes.
So in bringing it over to the pageant is the same thing that I'm doing. I want to encourage them that society is not giving us the best option, and I want to give them the best option to choose, a better option to choose. I don't know if I answered that question or not.
Yeah, you did. You really actually did. And you spoke about real life experiences and how real life experiences are very important, and seeing what you've seen, because going to these facilities and seeing the mistakes that people make, all decisions have consequences, and sometimes the consequences that these kids have are very grave consequences. So when you have these grave consequences, you want to go back and talk to the youth and tell them this is not the direction that you want to go, because the real life experiences is how you kind of do the check and balance on life. Sometimes kids don't believe it until they're so deep in it. I'm working with a number of kids right now that unfortunately, they will probably be on the other end of that, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. Let's talk about the pageant here for a second. Let's talk about what's some of the challenges that you face, because this is, how many years is this for you?
Our 8th year.
Our 8th year. Let's talk about the challenges that you've had going into this 8th year with the pageant. What's some of the things that you've had to overcome? What's some strategies you had to develop? Let's talk about that.
Well, one of the main things that I've struggled with is maintaining the participants. The girls are always excited to be in the pageant, but because it requires their mothers or their parents to bring them to the rehearsals, to bring them to, they drop off. And the reason drop off is because the parents are not as eager and don't love it as much as I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love it for the girls. But if the parents aren't as in love with it as I am, or don't want to see their I'm not going to say don't want to see their daughters, but don't want to invest the time. And so with that being said, my pageants drop off. They may start off, this year alone, we started off with 33 girls.
Wow.
And we're down to 19, which is better than what we've had in the past. Mm-hmm. So, it's improved, but that is one of the challenges. And then the other challenge that I have, that I've come into play with, is being recognized, because it's Juneteenth, and I mentioned earlier, a lot of people want to recognize it as a negative thing instead of seeing the positive about Juneteenth. So in our teaching of the girls, we let them know the significance of Juneteenth. It's good to party and have the good time because that's the holiday, but we want them to know where it all started from and their ancestors and what they had to go through in order to be free. Yes. So that you can be free and have an equal right, especially with our young black ladies.
And I want to dispel a myth real quick. Is your pageant, like when people come to watch your pageant, is it just for black people? Mm-hmm. Can anybody come in and watch your pageant?
My pageant is considered a freedom pageant. So therefore, it is not just for black people. Yes. It is the significant meaning of freedom.
I wanted you to say that, because when I say that, because I am that cultural guy, sometimes people actually don't believe me. It is a freedom fest. That means it's all about us to be educated. One thing that I do with the Heritage Legacy Curators, that if I've taken them to other ethnic groups' festivals, we went to the Czech Fest, we went to the Scottish Fest, we went to the German Fest that they have, Oktoberfest, so that way the boys can see other different cultures and understand other different cultures, so later on they don't find it to be odd. They can be the most educated person in the room when they see things. So what I like to do right now is take a moment to go to some of our commercials. If you guys are interested in the lively art of conversation and having an ad or being an underwriter, or just if you want to support this event here that we have here, which is the Juneteenth pageant, feel free to drop us a message at livelyartofconversation@gmail.com, and we'll see you here in just a little bit.
I am Ramona Clark, the director of the Tri-County Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant, and you're watching The Lively Art of Conversation.
All right, we're back with The Lively Art of Conversation, where we live, we learn, we earn, and we pass it along. We are here in the studio with the founder of the Miss Juneteenth pageant. And I want to say Tri-County, okay? Tri-County, because I always forget that Tri-County. Miss Ramona Clark, tell us what the Tri-County is all about.
As I indicated earlier, when my husband was ministering in the small community of Rosebud, the Tri-County, we couldn't get a lot of girls in Rosebud, a lot of back and forth.
Yes, so it was.
I wanted girls to, but there were girls that still wanted to participate, and I wanted to have this pageant for them. So I went to 3 different counties. I went to Falls County, Bell County, and Milam County, so that we can have a collective of girls to actually participate in the pageant itself. Now, since that started back in 2018, 2019, here after COVID, we start branching out to other counties so that their girls could, because I can't tell them no. If they came to the pageant and the girls wanted to be in it, and if they lived in Williamson County, they could be in it.
Yes.
So I don't have I just say Tri-County. That was the name of it. I was talking earlier that we may have to change that name. But
Yes.
Nevertheless, we are basically getting girls from varieties of counties that want to participate in the pageant.
We were talking offline, and I want to bring it online now. Tell me about what some of these girls have earned or gained along the way. I want you to be the first to say you have a young lady that is in the
Navy.
In the Navy.
We basically we're more than just a pageant. We're a mentorship as well, and we take a whole month prior to even starting rehearsal for the pageant to mentor them. We mentor them in proper etiquette. We mentor them in public speaking, self-control, building self-confidence, self-esteem, and then we give them coaching on how to walk, how to sit, how to talk, so they can always carry themselves upward. We have basically sent a total of 5 girls we have given a total of 5 scholarships out. One of the young ladies went to Temple College. She did 2 years of her scholarship, and then she enlisted into the Navy. Wow. And enlisting into the Navy, she basically have rank in the Navy. She loved her position there, and it makes me tenderhearted because she don't mind calling back and saying, "Thank you, Miss Ramona," because she was one who didn't have any self-esteem because of issues that was going on in her life. And with that being said, it makes me know that what we're doing is working.
That is amazing, because I've always said a lot of time we do not give our youth enough credit for making important decisions like serving our armed forces. I see so many times on TV when I turn the TV on, coming up here, when kids decide to go play football for University of Texas and they want to throw a big party, and that's fine. And I'm not doubting that or discrediting that, but a lot of times I think we should have the same celebratory thing for any person that decides to raise their right hand to join the military, because that you're really putting your life on the line for that. So I really commend you for that. So tell me some other milestones that the girls take away from them, other things that they gain while they're in the Tri-County Juneteenth pageant.
They gain friendship.
Friendship, okay.
And in gaining friendship, they can go, because like I said, it's different counties. They communicate and they keep that sisterhood tight. They still become friends. They know each other. That friendship is something that's important to them. And other things that they gain, especially with our proper etiquette, they learn how to sit. They learn how to talk. They learn how to sit up straight. And one of the mottos that they have is that they're to never let their crown fall.
Oh, yes.
Whether they're at school.
Wow.
Whether they're in the mall, you walk with your crown at all times.
Wow.
And so they always check themselves. Oh, I don't want my crown to fall. Never, because that's the self-esteem to know who you are. So,
ooh, never let your crown fall. Young ladies, young men, moms, dad, that is table conversation right there. Never let your crown fall. That is good to teach our youth how to hold on to that. I was reared kind of how you reared your daughter. My father was very strict on me, and my mother was also the educator of the family as well too. So if I got in trouble, it was like this 3-tier program type thing where my dad dealt with the physical, my mom was the harsh with the mental, and then my grandmother kind of done a little bit of everything. But I always remember my father telling me, wherever I go, no one's going to know you by your name. And I am 53 years old, and I just celebrated their 78th year birthday in Oklahoma. And I'm Dr. Rodney Duckett from the Lively Art of Conversation. And they say, hey, you wore Duckett's little boy, right? And I was like, I got a name, it's Rodney. Matter of fact, I got a title, but they don't care because I represent my father wherever I go. And I like the fact that they're representing you out in the community. Is there any other milestones that the kids take along with them?
Milestones, I'm not for sure.
Not for sure. What about any personal rewards or gains, work and dedication that they get from it? I know you see them in a growth process. So how do they grow? Tell me a little bit about their growth, because I've seen the girls at a few practices, and then I've seen them nervously behind stage, and then I see them step on stage, and they're not nervous anymore. So
yeah, I have one young lady, she attends Shoemake High School, and her parents, they gathered the growth in her, because they come to me and they said, we really see the difference in her. Mm. We really see her self-confidence build. And they give the credit to the pageant. So much so that she set goals for herself, so that where before she wouldn't, now she's ROTC, she's on the dance team. Like, we would have never seen that. But that self-growth is something that she's seen for herself, and she set that for herself, and she's doing real well. She's a junior at Shoemake High School, and I'm real proud of her.
Yes.
Real proud of her. And I attend whenever they're in different activities. They all give me their schedule. So I make sure that I go to volleyball games, to basketball games. I let them see me supporting them outside of the pageant. And that right there encourages them more.
You get all this from a Juneteenth pageant. There's been so much rumor, DEI, all this different stuff. This has nothing to do with DEI. This is Juneteenth. This was given to Texas. And she has ran away with this pageant. And what she's done is she has infected all these kids with that positivity that I'm saying. Like, this Juneteenth pageant is more than just a pageant. It's an actual vibe, So she's getting these young girls to vibe, to build self-esteem within these young girls. I want to say this because I'm pretty sure that you do it. Do you have to talk with the young girls about the young boys?
Yes, sir.
Oh, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. I do again like I did with my daughter. I allow them to know that there's nothing that a young man can tell them that they don't already know. Mm. A lot of young men want to tell you you're beautiful. You already know that. Mm-hmm. A lot of young men want to hold your hand. You're not for sure if they washed it, so therefore you don't. And that's basically what I tell them. But I give them value. That McDonald's is not the date you want to go on.
Woo!
That if they don't pull you up to make you the queen that you are,
wow, then
they shouldn't have a time of day. Now I have a granddaughter that's a senior at U of H, and she's studying psychology and the study of the athlete. And her motto is, if you don't make more money than me, you can't talk to me.
Woo!
So her goal is money.
Yes.
That's her goal. I want to make the money, but I don't want to talk to somebody or give anybody my time that's not making or don't have the same goals in life. And I said, her name is Leah. And I said, Leah. She said, I got that from you. So, yeah, we laugh quite often but I tell my granddaughters, break the cycle.
Yes.
I tell the young ladies in the pageant, break the cycle. You don't have to be what society say that you are. You can break that cycle.
And I'm glad you say that. We have a group of girls that we work with within the facility, and they are so hung up on boys. And there used to be a time where little girls had the right to select their own mates. In the animal kingdom, you select your own mates, but a lot of times we see young ladies that go well beneath their standards of living to be with someone based off of good looks. And sometimes good looks don't pay the bills. Sometimes good looks don't take care of the children. Sometimes good looks are just what they are. They're good looks with bad intentions. So, and I try to teach the girls that the importance behind that. You got to know your value. It's like what Miss Ramona Clark said. Value is so very important. And sometimes you got to be hidden, young ladies. Sometimes it's okay to be closed and be hidden, because everything that is precious is hidden, from a diamond into the earth or from a pearl into a clam. Everything sometimes is hidden. So keep that in mind. Mamas, that's table talk right there.
Yes, it is.
That's table talk right now. So if you're on your way to church, that is table talk right now. Let's go ahead and make that the conversation this week. Table talk, growth. Remember, growth. We want to grow. We want to grow this week. So I want to go ahead and ask you this question, because this question has been something that I've been dying to ask you. So what inspiration and guidance does the girls get for this that will be their longevity in life? Like, what is the things that you think that they take along with them, that they actually take this message and they give it to other people, or they give it to their brothers or their sisters? What message do you think that most of these girls are saying? Because sometimes like you said, your granddaughter mimicked your voice. She echoed your voice. So what do you think when they're mimicking you out in public later on as adults they're saying?
How I think that they're basically saying how to treat one another. They're basically saying how to carry themselves, because you mentioned something about cover yourself. Well, one thing that the pageant girls know, we don't allow flesh to be seen. Because we don't want the midriff, we don't want the short shorts, and we let them know, as you have said, that's not appealing. That's advertising.
Yes.
And the less that you advertise that kind of negative apparel, the better that you'll be seen, because you have the value and the standards. So I think that they encourage each other. I have seen them encourage each other. I have seen them, because our age groups is from 5 years old to 18. So with that age group, I see them encourage the little ones or the older ones, so that they'll know you're not supposed to sit like that. You're not supposed to. So even when they're out, their friends they're starting to pass that on to their friends. We don't sit like this. We don't talk like this. We don't have to dress like this.
Wow. It's funny that you say that. There was a running debate on the podcast a few years that was on, and they asked me, how do I like my woman? And I said, I like my woman covered. And they didn't understand that. They laughed. It's like, what if she's what? No, I like my woman covered. Because as a little boy, I used to go with my mom to Sears and Dillard's and Frugs and JCPenney's, and my mom would try on clothes. And I always remember my mom could pick anything that she wanted from there, but she would always come and dress very modest.
Modest apparel.
Modest apparel. Yeah, and that has always been attractive. Because you're attracted to what you see. Yeah. And I've always seen my mom. So if you see a woman in church, that's pretty much like where my eyes are batting. I'm sorry on Sunday, but that's where my eyes are batting, how women dress in church, how that modest apparel is. To me, I've always found that attractive. And I notice there's a lot of guys that find that attractive too. It's just not me. So let's talk about young mothers here for a second. Let's just gravitate to young mothers. So if there's a mother or just a lady out there that is looking to do what you're doing, because you are doing the nonprofit work, it's a community-based nonprofit work, but it's also entrepreneurialism. how would you tell them to get started? Like if they wanted to create their own dynamic, like what you're doing?
They have to love what they're doing. Because you can't get started and involve, especially children, and let them down. So you have to be dedicated and love what you're doing. We centralize everything here in Temple because we have other counties around. So we make Temple like our central point. So I drive 45 minutes to an hour, especially when pageant season start, 2 to 3 times a week, just so that I can be here for the girls and not let them down. Giving them their word. If you're going to start something and you give them a word, stick to it. Yes. Don't give them something that you're going to, well, I got to change or I got to cancel. And I know a lot of time we tend to cancel a lot or put it off or come up with excuses, and we're affecting other kids. We're affecting the kids. So if we're going to be dedicated to doing such, you have to be dedicated to it. You can't give them excuses. You have to be honest and dedicated to what you're doing.
So no excuses. Honesty and dedication is what it is that you're saying. You're watching The Lively Art of Conversation. I'm your host, Dr. Rodney Duckett, and we'll be back after this commercial. Hello, this is Dr. Rodney Duckett with The Lively Art of Conversation. This is the place where you live, you learn, you earn, and you pass that wisdom along. Join us every Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. as we bring to you The Lively Art of Conversation. This is a place where your life lessons becomes the experience and the wisdom for others to reach out and grab. If it's not for your test, if it's not for your mess, if it's not for your tragedies, and if it's not for your end, we'll never have the beginning for the next generation. We will never have the triumph the next generation can reach out and point the finger at. We'll never be able to understand the test that turned to the testimony. And my goodness, everybody's mess becomes a great dialogue for a message. So if you have a message and you would like to be a part of the Lively Art of Conversation, do not hesitate with just dropping me a email. That's right, with the Lively Art of Conversation at gmail.com. Because if you have an ad, if you have a book, if you have an event, or if you have something that you have to get off your chest in a constructive way to help others build, then grow, well, this is the platform for you. So feel free to reach out to me. That's right, your community facilitator, your cultural enthusiast, Rodney Duckett. That's Dr. Rodney Duckett. So hope to hear you soon on the Lively Art of Conversation. Tune in. This is a story worth listening to.
Words have power. They connect, heal, and inspire. That's the mission at Better Watch Your Tone, LLC, founded by Tony B. Shelton. She's empowering through powerful poetry and prose, with hundreds impacted through speaking events, workshops, and 8 self-published books. Ready to honor the story within? Discover books and coaching at betterwatchyourtone.com. For event poetry or book writing support, email tonyshelton@gmail.com. Let's use our words to uplift. Better watch your tone. Don't miss the 8th annual Tri-County Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant, Friday, June 13th at 6:30 p.m. at the Cultural Activity Center in Temple. Celebrate 160 years of freedom while supporting incredible young women building confidence, leadership, and earning real scholarships. Pre-sale tickets are just $15. Call Ramona Clark at 254-534-2225 to get yours today. Be there and be inspired. You've built a life worth celebrating. Now it's time to be seen. At Las Foto de Lance Photography, they don't just take portraits, they capture the fire in your spirit and the power in your presence. Whether you're reclaiming your confidence, owning your story, or stepping into a new chapter, Las Foto de Lance Photography creates luxury images that reflect the real you. Visit lasfotodelance.net or drop by their Harker Heights studio. Las Foto de Lance Photography, unapologetically you, immortalized. Looking to elevate your brand or capture unforgettable moments? New Image Media offers top-tier videography, photography, personal branding, and more. They combine creativity and quality with fair pricing and friendly service so you get the results you want. Whether it's a business promo or special occasion, they bring your vision to life with quality you can trust. Choose New Image Media, where your image is everything. For more info, email media@newimagemediallc.com.
This is Dr. Rodney Duckett with the Heritage Legacy Curators. You're looking for something for your kids to do this summer? Well, reach out to me at Impact Outreach, IMPAC outreach@gmail.com, because Heritage Legacy Curators is all about collecting oral history. So if you have stories that you would love to pass down to your kids, or if you have a project that maybe your kids need to do as it relates to oral history, bring those family albums out and we'll sit there and we'll sort through those family albums, so that way we can collect those stories and keep those stories within the family, so that way they can be the next speakers to curate your family reunion. And we're back with the Lively Art of Conversation. If you guys do not know, I am here with the wonderful and beautiful and the talented and our community-based leader, Miss Ramona Clark. She is here talking to us about the entrepreneurial spirit that is in action. She is over the Tri-County Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant, and she has been dropping some gems on her. I like that, the crown. Say that thing about the crown again.
Don't let your crown fall.
Don't let your crown fall. Don't let your crown fall. I love that. And this is what she's teaching our girls in the community. Now, if somebody wants to support your endeavors, how do they go about supporting you? Say, I know right now someone is listening and saying, man, would you ask her this question? How can I support? How can they support you?
We have a Cash App account that's directly for the Tri-County Miss Juneteenth, and we have a Zelle account that you can basically submit funds if that's something that you're wanting to support. If you're wanting to support non-monetary donations, we have different things that's always available for you to support, whether it's crowns or sashes or dresses, and whatever that you know that a pageant need and you'd like to support it, we are willing and able to accept that.
And I'm going to make sure I get this information out to you guys. I'm going to make sure that it's on my social media platforms if you guys want to get that information. Do you have an email if they want to email you directly?
Yes. It's Tri-County Miss Juneteenth @gmail.com. I better check that because, I have quite a few.
That. Yeah, and while she's checking that, what I want to say is, this is a wonderful, wonderful organization. I've been with her for like the last 3 or 4 years. I love working with her. I love seeing these young ladies grow. I've got my boys in there to help with them. My boys enjoy it. It gives them an opportunity to step out and teach them how to be gentlemen. There's one thing that I try to teach the boys is how to be gentlemen. And we have our own little things that we do to make sure that young ladies feel like young ladies in their presence. So if you got any young women that want to be a part of this, you can hit me up at the Lively Art of Conversation, and Miss Ramona Clark is going to actually get you an email where you guys can email. But if you remember mine, I can also get that email over to you as well too. So if you got any young ladies that's interested, is the window still open so they can be a part of it?
They will only be a part of the actual, they've missed all the workshops because our workshops ended on Saturday. But we're starting the coaching and the talent. We will I'm really in need of high school contestants because, once they get older, they're the ones who sort of drop off. So I do need the high school contestants, and keep in mind, those are the ones that receive the scholarships. They are going to be graded on proper etiquette. They're going to be graded on the questions and answers, their pageant, their talent, and the high school girls are required to write a 300-word essay. And they receive points. Everything is by outside judges. They basically come in and they judge the girls. So the high school girls will be the ones to receive the scholarships. And the scholarships are what we lack, as far as, because every money, all of our pageant is strictly donations and sponsorships, and different fundraisers that the girls have to carry out or have to do. And so with that being said, that our scholarships are limited, and we're wanting to get beyond that because we want to get enough sponsorships, enough donations so that we can give out 1 or 2 or 3 scholarships and not just one. That's what's hurt us in the past. We only able to give out one because we only have enough funds for that scholarship and to uphold the pageant. So
awesome. You hear that. So if you are a senior and you're looking for a little extra scholarship money, hey, Miss Ramona Clark has you here at the Tri-County Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant. all you have to do, reach out to me. Lively Art of Conversation. That is Lively, Lively, Art of Conversation. Go ahead and connect with me. I will get you that information. I have her email already on tap. It's already locked into my Google, and I'll make sure each and every one of you guys get it. So as we begin to wrap up, one of the things that I would like to do here is thank Miss Ramona Clark, number one, for being here, being a part of this conversation here with the Lively Art of Conversation. You're a very passionate lady, and I appreciate the work that you're doing in the community, and you're a blessing to so many. And for you guys that want to be a part of this and sponsor, please reach out. These are organizations for our youth, and it's much needed for you. Believe it or not, in this area that we live per capita, we have some of the most wealthiest people here, but they do not participate and donate hardly whatsoever. So Juneteenth is coming up. Go ahead and get your ducats together and go ahead and make that donation to that Cash App. Reach out to me, Lively Art of Conversation. What I'll do is I'll just copy and paste her email so that way you can have it and you can reach right out to her. Our Cash App will be on our social media platforms for you guys to go ahead and hit that QR code and go ahead and make those donations. So, Miss Ramona Clark, as I wrap up, do you have any final words that you would like to say?
I just would like to invite everyone out to basically come and witness what we're doing in the community for our young ladies. The pageant is going to be on June the 13th at the Cultural Activity Center. There is a a price at the door, and then there's a price for the pre-sale tickets that our pageant girls are going to be the only ones selling the tickets, giving them an opportunity to do their public speaking. So that is available. Tickets will be at the door at $20 per person, and we're looking to make sure that we have the Cultural Activity Auditorium packed. Yes. So we'd appreciate that. And the email address for is tricountymissjuneteenth@gmail.com.
Yes, you guys get that. Say that one more time.
tricountymissjuneteenth@gmail.com. That's the email address.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. We have something to do coming up here in June. That is the Tri-County Miss Juneteenth Scholarship Pageant. That is the place for you guys to be. I'm telling you, it's going to be a wonderful place. And then right after that, on the 18th, I have my Sunset Eve ceremony. That's going to be at the Bell County Museum. There we honor the late, great Reverend Roscoe Harrison, because we're always in that auditorium. And that will be one of our boys' final presentations that they do for Black History. They will go ahead and host this Juneteenth Sunset Pageant again. So once again, thank you everybody for tuning in to the Lively Art of Conversation. I'm your host, Dr. Rodney Duck, and we've had the pleasure of being with Miss Ramona Clark. And I want to let you guys know next week we have a phenomenal show. That's my word, phenomenal. I'm going to change it up and say an amazing show because we have Miss Arca Price. She is your real estate sidekick, and boy, does she have a story. That woman has a story, and she's going to tell you your story on the Lively Art of Conversation. So tune in every Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. as we host the Lively Art of Conversation, where we live, we learn, we earn, we pass it along. Peace and blessings to you all.